Welcome to episode 76 of Toy Frenzy.
Wow.
I can't believe we've made it this far.
76.
That's a good year. That's
just last week it was 75, right?
Yeah.
Just last week it was 75. This year, this week it's 76. And next week it's going to be 77, I think, if all goes well. Well, okay, so right off the bat, everybody, thank you so much for being here and tuning in. I see we've got several people watching, and I just want to say thanks for being here. And also, Oz and Bobby are both unable to attend tonight, so it's going to be Adam and Sean and I. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited about tonight's subject matter. I know for all of us, the Mike Young Productions 2000X He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series carries different levels of significance. So this is going to be a good conversation. I'm excited. And let's see. Well, first, how are you guys doing? Adam, Sean, how are you guys doing?
Doing good. I was just going to comment. I was walking my dogs last night, and I caught a little bit of your podcast last night, Sean, covering the Netflix, one of the Netflix He-Man episodes, which was it's good. It sounded like a good conversation there. But I'm good. I was sick last week. I'm mostly better now.
Yeah, I'm glad you're feeling better.
I'm here. When Skelly goes, hey, do you want to talk about this, and sends me the photo of 2000X, I go, oh, you know how to make a guy feel welcome around here. That's a feeling. Definitely a surprise for me how much I love that era.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much Masters of the Universe to talk about, and I know, but and listening to other people talk about Masters, whether it be legends or podcasters of the universe, and I know Mike Young Productions comes up in conversation a lot, and it has not come up in conversation a lot for us. So it makes sense to talk about it. And Adam, thank you for coming up with the idea to talk about this tonight, because it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like it's something. I didn't catch it in when it was out, but I feel like the more I look back on it, the better it looks. So I think there's some hidden gems in that line for sure.
Yeah, so that's precisely it. I mean, like, it hit me at a particular time in my life. It hit you at a particular time in your life, and it hit Sean at a particular time in his life. So I'm excited. And I'm excited to hear what people say in the chat about it too, because I know everyone here has a relationship to it in some way. If not, I'd be surprised. So let's see who's in the chat. We've got Cobweb. Great to see you here. Saying anyone home. On our U83, great to see you here. JMax77, fantastic to see you. Ray Black, great to see you as usual. My buddy's cousin, Bud, it's great to see you here. Ace, of course, it's great to see Ace here. And people are chatting with one another. Got Thanos Copter here. Great to see you. And I was just thinking about you, Thanos. We'll take a break there because there's a collector, or there's like an area of North Fresno called River Park, and it's usually like just basic outdoor mall shopping stuff. But Thanos, they're having Thanos lives right up north of Fresno. So might be interested to know that there's a collector's swap meet thing happening in the main area of River Park this weekend on Saturday. I'm going to try and go out there. It's rare that things like that happen out on that part of town. So maybe you'll go, Thanos. Maybe I'll see you there. We got Joe. Great to see you, Joe. So what are you guys excited about? Because I've got a few things on my list. What are you guys excited about this week?
Ooh, all right. If nobody else wants to go, I can do this. So in the last couple weeks, we had an episode on Off-World where Curtis and I ended up talking to a bunch of people about the G.I. Joe Classified line.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a line that I kept saying I'm trying to put my blinders up about because I'm like, if I get one, I'm gonna start turning into one of those. So you got any more of them G.I. Joe Classifieds and all that stuff? Because for me as a kid, I would say G.I. Joe was in the at least top 5. They weren't number 1, but they were definitely up there for like the rough and tumble, go out and play in the dirt kind of figures and the sandbox and all that stuff. And I ended up going nuts because I ended up getting Storm Shadow, and from there it just was a rabbit hole. So the thing that I'm excited about right now is I'm not a fan of the classified version of Flint. He's my favorite G.I. Joe character on the good guys side. And I figured out finally, just in the last 48 hours, I was like, wait a minute, if I put this head with this body, with this, and because they are a pop and swap line, it is a little more modular than typically done from Hasbro, which I'm surprised by. I kind of think I might have my ultimate Flint by me doing it than Hasbro doing it. So I'm kind of excited to see if I'm right. So far, I'm right about one thing because I did swap the head off one guy onto the figure body that I was hoping would work, and it did today. So that was enough to make me go, okay, this is a good sign. So now I need a couple more pieces, and I have another figure coming Saturday, and that's kind of where it'll all culminate into, is this going to be the thing or not? So I'm actually pretty excited to have that as a pop and swap little project that I'm seeing what happens with.
Nice.
So. That's great. I mean, I don't know what happened, but it feels like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe, folks in the toy community that I engage with, that had been holding off on classifieds, are now getting into it, and I think it's because they're getting into some characters that are not the run-of-the-mill characters, especially the Dreadnoks and so I think I've been real tempted too, Sean. I've been real tempted too, and I am trying to really hold it. I'm trying to hold it in and not venture into that territory. I saw Buzzer in Target, and I was like, oh God, this is not good. And I resisted. I actually resisted. So I'm just seeing how much longer I can hold off.
See, I'm not going to be like Mythic Legions about this because I know G.I. Joe is definitely it's a taste that if you enjoyed it as a kid, it's one thing, but if you didn't get into it, it's like, I get it. I'm not gonna force fandom onto people or whatever. But for the price of the figures and what you get in that line,
yeah,
it's actually like, the more I'm getting into it, the more I'm like, oh my God, this is so cheap compared to some of this other stuff that's out there right now. It's like $20 to $25 a figure, and the amount of stuff that you're getting in there for accessories, for paint apps, are usually really impressive. Sculpts are really well done. But yeah, like that was the thing. Like when the line started, I didn't care. I was excited, but I was like, because a lot of the main ones that they force on you, like Duke or Roadblock, or those are ones where I'm like, whatever. You know, it's like there's
that way.
There's peanut butter and jelly. I get that. Yeah. But then when you show me Storm Shadow or Firefly or Zartan or Major Blood, then all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, you know, those are the ones that tip the scales for me. But yeah, like I'm just enjoying the hell out of it. It's a fun line, and I also have my own personalized Joe Gonzalez action figure now, because the bazooka figure is the perfect way to represent Joe Gonzalez on your I will show you right now. Hang on one second here.
Joe Gonzalez has an amazing has amazing facial hair. Yeah.
Absolutely. So on the latest episode of Offworld we did last weekend, I did present. This is the Joe Gonzalez action figure.
Yeah, that's great.
Bazooka. It literally, yes, he does not have a beard, but if Joe just shaved his facial hair except for that mustache, you got Bazooka. And even like listening to the cartoon again, the voice, I'm like, oh my God, it sounds like Joe. I love it. He's dumber than Joe. Joe is a smarter man than this character ever was. But oh my God, it just warmed my heart to go, I have a Joe Gonzalez action figure now. So,
G.I. Joe Gonzalez.
G.I. Joe Gonzalez, exactly.
Weekend Gamer, how did I pass on that? I'll tell you how I passed on it. I put it back on the peg. I turned around and I walked away. It was really, really hard. But I don't know about you guys, but sorry, Adam. We'll get to you. What's got you excited too?
I took it all over. I'm sorry.
No, I mean this is a good place to say it. Maybe Tomax and Zaymot, seeing them in abundance at Ross lately for $5.99.
Yep.
I'm willing to just hold off and see who shows up in Ross, because I don't know if you guys in the private Patreon chat, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I posted that I found 4 Masterverse figures at $4.99 each.
Wow.
No, $3.99 each. $3.99 each. I found Zodak. These are all figures I kind of was willing to pass on, actually. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I got this guy, because this is kind of an amazing Masterverse figure. CGI Skeletor is kind of an amazing. I mean, this guy is massive. He's heavy, and then I also got the He-Man too, which is really good. Actually, he's almost my favorite He-Man. He looks like he's right out of the cartoon.
Those figures were made, or those designs were made to be those figures.
Exactly, I agree.
They're the most perfect version of those figures. I wish they could have gotten deeper into that roster with the Beast Man and
that would have been great.
And Teela and everybody, but it is what it is. At least you got the main two that way.
Yeah, and then I got Katra back there too.
Nice.
And she's an amazing figure. I totally passed on her back when I saw her in Walmart, 4 or 5 months ago or whatever it was. And so I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't say it on YouTube, but I'm going to. Ross might be the place to go, folks. I don't know what the equivalent of Ross is, if it's different on the East Coast or else. Okay, good. It's I've been particularly surprised and excited. You got it. Okay, good.
Nice.
There you go.
$5.99, right? Yeah, $5.99 the other week when I went over.
And they had those guys. They had the twins there too, but I just couldn't pass on this. I mean, $3.99. I mean, I was just shocked.
I'll do you one better. I was over there just the other night, and they had the CGI, the smaller figures in there.
Oh yeah.
They had Stratos and Triclops, $2.99.
Ooh, I would get the Triclops for $2.99 for sure.
I eyed it up for like a second or so, and then I ended up. I had other stuff I had to do, and I was like, it's like both of those. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but then I was like, well, I'm not really collecting that one versus other things. So I was like, even for $2.99, I'll let it pass. But there was that part, like, holy crap, there they are. That's amazing.
So Cobweb found Skelegod and Beastman from Ross. I mean, that's kind of great. Ross is Ross is sort of surprising me a little bit. That's one of the things I'm kind of excited about. So, Adam, what are you excited about?
All right, so I discovered there's a mom and pop toy store about 10 minutes from me, which I didn't know about. So I found this guy there.
Nice.
At a very reasonable price. He's one of the more detailed figures. One of the things I love is like if you look on the back of his belt, he's got pouch of which is supposed. I asked the designer about it. Like the pouch is like mistletoe, and he's got this little hook thing for harvesting it for his spells that he does, and he's got like some metal plates with some of his incantations on it. So I love those little details on him.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Really nice staff too. I love
the staff is great. Did he come with a spell book?
He did. Yeah,
I
got the spell book as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, it's a little work of art.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So, I was excited to find
that. Real quick, Thanos found Crocmaster at Ross. I'm so jealous. That's the one that I was like, I never saw it go on sale at Walmart. It was like $48 or $45.99 or something like that. And I was like, if it goes down in price, I might get it, but I never saw it on sale. So you scored on that Eldor, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah, they've got a lot of, and it was a mint in box. They don't have like a lot of the high demand, but they have a lot of the kind of tertiary characters at reasonable prices. So I have a feeling I'll be going back.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's so good. Nice. Here. Beautiful.
I had to put the hat on him. I got one of the pieces to my puzzle for Flint was I had to get a Recondo figure, and he came with the hat. And then the minute I saw Crocmaster, I go, he needs a hat.
Yeah,
so that's how he's going to be from now on. He's going to
Crocmaster Dundee.
Crocmaster Dundee. That ain't a knife.
That ain't a knife. Yeah, that's very cool. Crocmaster as a kid, the Dreadnoks and Crocmaster and the twins and Destro and Storm Shadow were all my go-to figs to play with.
Storm Shadow is one of my absolute favorites in the whole line.
He's such a simple character design, but there's something about him that's just very, very cool. And Destro too. I mean, the chrome head. I mean, it's so cool, but it's so simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to resist. If there was a mom and pop shop too that had some classics, even if they were like the what was the term you used, Adam?
Oh yeah, it was like a mom and pop kind of toy store,
But the characters were like
tertiary characters.
Yeah, good word. Yeah, so even I think I'd have a hard time resisting that too. I'm glad there aren't any stores like that near me.
Yeah.
I kind of love the tertiary characters, to be honest with you. They're some of my favorites, especially with Masters.
For sure. And for me, I got into G.I. Joe in like 86. So that's those kind of 85 through 87. That's the ones that I really glommed onto. So the Crocmasters and Serpentor and all of the, especially the bad guys, they're very colorful and weird.
What was the snake guy?
Serpentor.
The one who's like he's got a long snake tail.
Oh yeah, Globulus.
Yeah.
Globulus. Yeah.
Now, if there's a Globulus that comes out through classified, I'm gonna have a hard time resisting that at regular.
They're starting to get into those. That's the thing. Like, there's a guy. I've just been starting to remember and going back into the mythology of the stuff. There's a Nemesis Enforcer who's the big guy with the bat wings for Cobra Law, and they're going to have him coming out soon. So my guess is if that guy is going to be on the way, they're going to eventually hit Globulus somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see what he looks like in classified form. Very cool. Very cool. So the thing that I'm most excited about right now is that I just got word from Pedro from almost 2 years ago now when I started the big trade with him, and the final one was that I traded him that Fright Zone that I made for the Eternia playset. He just texted me today and said that it came in. So this weekend I'm going to drive over with my pickup, and hopefully it won't be raining, and put that box in the back and bring it back here. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm excited to break them open. I do know, however, that right away, I don't know if you can see him here, but I got Mr. T back here. I'm going to make another King T using the King Grayskull Origins and using the head of the Origin style Mr. T. So I'm excited about that.
I'm sure you'll have a full video unboxing and all that stuff.
Yeah. I just really have to figure out the logistics of this, because I don't really have a place to put it. And I didn't really think about it. I've been kind of, how avoidance. I was kind of like
problem.
Yeah, sure. I was like, I'm not going to think about it because, what if it doesn't happen, and then I don't have to worry about it, and plus with things like that, with trades like that, and I trust and I know Pedro, but you never know, who knows what might happen, and his well-being is certainly my priority. So if he needed to return it or whatever it might be, but I'm so excited, but I just totally not ready for it. But
I have a cheap and cheerful display idea for you, which I use for my classics, which is just a folding card table with a cheap $2 plastic party tablecloth to make it look less cheap, and then they're all just sitting on the table.
I like
probably
that.
Do that with the Eternia, yeah.
So for the folks in the chat that I do have like a dresser but I'm a little worried it might not be deep enough. I know that I've watched a few. I've been trying to avoid too many Eternia videos because I want to have that experience when I open it up. But does anybody know the exact measurements of how deep it is? I've seen the measurements for how wide it is and how tall it is, but not for how deep it is from the front of the cat to the back of the two towers that are back here. So if anybody in the chat knows that, I guess I could have just done some research, but I've been kind of avoiding that. But I do have a dresser, so maybe that'll work. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
But
one other.
Yeah.
Sorry. One other thing I'm excited for. There was that leaked list of Origins figures coming out.
Oh yeah.
The Origins Demo Man. I'm very excited for that because he will go right with the Lords of Power display behind me. Would be perfect for that.
God, that was like what a superb chunk of information. Like that and Too Bad. Yes. Yeah. I'm just so happy. I mean, honestly, especially for folks like me that are sort of tapering back on their Origins purchases. Those are two characters that I can't resist. I will gladly pay the $17.99 plus shipping from Mattel Creations. Or I think they're like 20 now on Mattel Creations, I think. But
yeah.
Rock On I could pass on. Although I know a lot of people are really excited about him from Mattel Creations, but having a vintage one of him makes me happy enough. But yeah, Demo Man, I missed the boat on him in Classics, and the main reason I was kicking myself was that didn't he come with an Alcala style Skeletor head sculpt?
Yep.
So when I discovered that, I was like, damn it. I was really pissed because I had an opportunity to get it at an affordable price. And I mean, affordable. I mean, it's like, I don't know, $40 or something like that. But Yeah, I just yeah, he's a character I'm just super stoked for. So I'm glad you brought that up, Adam. And it'll be great to see what Too Bad looks like in Origin style too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, probably. I would assume he's probably going to be pretty close to the vintage. I wonder if they'll do. I assume they'll probably do kind of the round back version of him as opposed to. I don't see why they would do the flat back version. But I'm hoping yeah. I don't know if they'll do if they'll bother with an action feature for him. But hopefully they don't try to mount the arms up on the shoulders because they've got that articulation anyway. So
yeah, it would be really cool if they did that. But that's what makes the vintage figure. That's what sets the vintage figure aside. And so if they tried to emulate that, I'd be like, well, maybe I didn't need an Origins Too Bad. Because I like the idea of having a Too Bad that I can actually articulate a little bit more. Because we've never had that, and well, we have in 2000X kind of, and we did certainly with classics, but not the vintage figure. I mean, he's probably the most. I mean, they're all stationary, but he's probably the most stationary. Because you can't even move his arms like this.
Yeah, you just do the face, punching his own faces. That's his move.
I did have a lot of fun with that as a kid. I have very fond memories of Too Bad punching his own faces. A lot of that. Ace. Anyone else love classics Batros? That one was a splurge for me. Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, that was my most recent classics purchase. I found him for a pretty good. Where did I find him? Amazon for a pretty good deal. Yeah, wow. It was like what was this, 2 years ago now, I think, maybe 3 years. God, I don't know, but yeah, I found him on Amazon. Still, brand new. And Batros is amazing, Ace. So I'm with you on that for sure. Batros is worth it always. I kind of want to see Batros in Origins.
Yeah,
I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, he's on my list for sure for classics. My favorite of the Filmation side characters is definitely Fangman. He just I love the look. His colors are really appealing to me.
Yeah,
you can see him right up there by Drago Man. He's in place of honor.
Yep, I love that guy. Sean, do you have a Fangman?
I did have a Batros too. I went through when I started going, okay, who do I definitely need to have?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think pretty much every Filmation originated character I ended up letting go of because of the fact that I wanted to have the ones that I had as a kid more than worry about some of the other ones who were just, here's a Filmation one that you're finally getting, because my owning to them wasn't nearly as hardcore as I needed to have Tila, He-Man, Skeletor, and figures like that.
I'm sad. I had an opportunity to get him at a reasonable price too, and I'm sad I passed on that. He's a beautiful classics figure. I hope they come out with him too. I think he's on.
Yeah.
Did I imagine it, or isn't he on the box art for Eternia, or one of the play sets? I feel like he's been there.
He's on recent box art. Yeah.
I don't know
which one.
Batros. Going back to Batros really quick. Oops. Sorry. Ace, I'll get back to that in a little bit. I think that would be smart if Batros made it into the cartoon collection. I wanted to mention that's probably one of my top 5 favorite Filmation episodes. That Batros is all about stealing knowledge. How rad is that? It's such a good episode.
Yeah. He should come with a few books too. He should
he should.
The library. Yeah.
I mean, what a weird guy to want to steal books. I mean, you know, it's such an odd thing. Yeah, so that would be cool. So shall we jump into our 2000X discussion?
Let's do it.
I have some slides, but there's minimal slides, just some of my favorite action figures, and maybe this will be a good place to start. But I think maybe before, sorry, I know a better place to start, actually. Let's go around and talk about our first experience with discovering the 2000X Mike Young Productions cartoon, or the figures, depending on what you saw first or found first. Talk about our experiences with this. I know, Sean, you mentioned it in a previous episode, but I can't get enough of your story, so I'd love to hear it again.
I was there was a bookstore that is no longer here in Central PA, called Encore Books, where I ended up I found one of the first toy fair magazines where it went into, hey, Mattel is starting to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting in their cafe area, and I'm reading up about these guys called the Four Horsemen, who for some reason had to live in New Jersey and did toys. And I'm like, that's something. I don't know these guys. and then I got to see I remember the opening 2-page spread was Skeletor, Beastman, and Merman, and it said "Bad to the Bone." And I remember just looking at that and just looking at it for a long time and taking in all the details and being like, as I was probably in my late teens when I saw that, I'm like, this is everything I need right now. Like, I did not know how much I missed He-Man until I saw that. And then I want to say it was maybe a year or so later, I was at Toys R Us, and I for the love of God, I was like, oh my God, these things are going to be so expensive. The amount of details on them, the paint, all that. I was like, these things are not going to be affordable. And then I go into Toys R Us, and there they are on an end cap. Literally to almost the ceiling, and I'm standing there looking at He-Man and Skeletor. I grabbed both of them and ran to the register, and I left them in on card for the longest time, and that just it literally felt like I was able to buy my childhood again. It was amazing. Yeah, I know those guys.
Yeah, right, Joe.
I heard they went on to some really cool things. I don't know. They keep a low profile.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think any of us would be here without Four Horsemen. Honestly,
I can honestly agree with that, because those guys helped reawaken how much this meant to me when I was a kid, and then to see it evolving into something dynamic and detailed and scary and ferocious looking in the case of Skeletor and Beastman and some of those figures. But yet, when it came to the cartoon, I missed out on that by a lot. Like, I moved out of my parents' house in 2002, and I think I saw maybe one episode of it, and I didn't understand the concept of they're making a new cartoon. I thought what was going to be happening was they were going to go in, look at some Filmation episodes, and remake those episodes into like an updated version. Right. So when I was watching it, I just sat there going, this isn't what I was thinking. Like, I'm like, where's the theme song? And then I hear the theme song, and I'm like, no, that's not. Where's that?
Yeah, I had the same feeling about the theme song too.
It was confusing as hell to me, and so I kind of left it there. And it was a couple years later, I ended up having a bunch of like dental surgery problems, and I was going through, and I was staying at home a lot because that stuff made it really hard for me to talk, and it also made it really hard for me to even want to smile at people and stuff. So I ended up going on YouTube a bunch, and I found, I think it was Dark Child, that had all of the episodes on his channel at that point, or on their channel, his or her channel. And I'm like, I don't get why something that said it was He-Man didn't appeal to me. I'm going to give this another shot, and I'm going to just stick with it and see what happens. I want to say by the 4th or 5th episode, I'm like, how did I ever think this wasn't good? I got sucked into that, and I just was like, I need more. And then it made me go on eBay and buy the figures again, and it made me go on the and I was just going through this renaissance only a couple years after the show ended of enjoying it, and then realizing, oh crap, the show's over. And it's like I always did that. Anything I loved after a certain point, I'd get into it, and then I'm like, oh, it already got taken away from me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got hit at over heels both for the toy line and the show until somebody said, hey, do you want to do podcasting? And the next thing I knew, I got to like rip into it every chance I got, saying it's brilliant and you need to watch it. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that Matt's got your back in the love for that series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adam, how about you?
So I missed it when it came out. I did catch the commemorative line, which was like preceded 2000X by a little bit. So I caught that, got a 5-pack, was really excited. But that didn't get me back into He-Man necessarily. I just enjoyed the 5-pack and did my own thing for the next, 8 years, 9 years, no, even longer, like 10, 12 years. So I didn't really even know about 2000X, the toys or the cartoon, until I got into He-Man 2012-ish. And that's when I started collecting vintage and classics a little bit. I'm on He-Man.org learning about, there's this 2000X line. Initially the toys, I was like, oh, okay, well they're kind of funky, they're kind of weird, but I was more like laser focused on the vintage designs. But I did start getting, at that point I started getting into the cartoon, which was is basically on YouTube. I think like you, Sean, somebody had them up on YouTube. So I found I really enjoyed the cartoon. The stories were compelling. It didn't have the same nostalgic hit, but at the same as the Filmation series, but at the same time, the stories I felt were more compelling. It wasn't just, looking at it. Okay, the Filmation is, this is very much aimed at a very young audience, whereas the MYP is, they're more complex storytelling. There's more stakes. Some bad things can really happen to people within limits. So I think it's really compelling stories. And then just over the years, just kind of looking back at 2000X, just kind of appreciating how really cool those designs are, especially like you mentioned Bad to the Bone. It was basically a Toy Fair magazine, and I put a link to that in the chat. But if you look at those original prototypes that the Four Horsemen did, they're as good as the toys are. Those are so much better than the toys because they're fully painted. They're not compromised in any way. So check out the scans, everybody, if you get a chance. They're just really beautiful, detailed sculpts. I think it was they had exactly the right vision for the time it came out. The only, is part of that too, and we can maybe get into this, is the way He-Man came out, which wasn't really the way that they wanted to do it. They had more of this, barbarian with long hair and kind of a more wild look, where He-Man got a little bit more anime eyes, just because that was, Dragon Ball Z and all that was going on at the time. But for the most part, their vision, I think, made it through pretty well into the toys. It was pretty compelling. So yeah, I enjoy it. The longer I look back on it, the more I enjoy it.
Yeah, I kind of have a similar story with Sean. So I found that magazine too. I saw that magazine. I think I used to work at a museum, and back, in the late 90s and early 2000s, and my pals that worked there with me, we were the ones that hung the artwork and painted the walls and made the pedestals and stuff. And we would all go on lunch breaks, and we'd choose a a cheap place to eat and then a destination to like look at shit. And so we picked Barnes and Noble, or I don't even know if Barnes and Noble. Yeah, it did. It was it was Borders. Borders, because Borders doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
it was Borders,
but
Borders. They had an amazing magazine section, and we were all strolling around, and I found that magazine, and I saw that issue, and I was like, holy shit. And I think for about those images were released, if I remember correctly, the figures were released before the show hit the air, right?
Yeah.
And so I was excited about that, and it immediately clicked, and I started looking up, on what I call now ancient internet pictures of the vintage figures. Like I would just find a picture of Merman, and it would slowly download, and then I would use our work at a crappy printer, and I'd print out the picture and make collages, and I was getting really excited about like revisiting the vintage stuff. And then I think the first wave, or some of the first figures, came with videotapes with the original show, not the new show, if I remember that correctly. And so then I think as soon as those figures hit, it was like Power of the Force. I was looking at these images in magazines. I was tracking release dates, however we did it back then, reading articles, I guess, and finding whatever we could find on the ancient interweb, and then when they hit Toys R Us, I ran over there. I was like, it was a spectacular feeling. And then I saw the first episode of the show, and I was initially disappointed. I was like, who's Keldor? I mean, what's this storyline? Also, that song, Sean, you mentioned the song. I was like, this isn't He-Man. And then I think it took me like a few episodes, and before I knew it, I was, rushing home. I paid for, I don't know why. I was so excited. I paid for cable in my shitty little apartment with hardly any money to my name. I paid for cable just so I could watch this every time an episode would come on. I would be so mad when I'd miss the newest episode. It was like, what was it, Nickelodeon or something? It was some
Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network, yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
And then not too long after that, I moved from the West Coast to the East Coast, and I got a job at a fitness center in a hotel. I had to be there at 5:00 in the morning. No, I had to be there at 4:30, and I had to get everything opened up at 5. And the first hotel guests would come in, and they would start showing up around 5:30 or 6. But I had about 30 minutes where I could watch. Yay, Bobby!
Go ahead. No, don't worry about me. Just go ahead. Continue.
All right, I'm gonna just remove you for a little bit until I finish the story.
Go ahead.
I'm just kidding. So Good, and you? We need Bobby Dangerously t-shirts. On the back it says good, and you?
Good, and you?
Give me some ideas.
There you go. So I would for about a half an hour every morning. At this time, it was coming on. It wasn't at the normal time. It was, you could only watch it if it was really early in the morning. Reruns, and I would just have it on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a glorious time. I mean, I think it reminded me of the power of storytelling that was part of Masters of the Universe from the very beginning, in those Filmation episodes and in those mini comics. For me, it reminded me that that these stories were ours, and that we could bring our own imagination to it, and when I would take my figures out to play with, I would be thinking about the Filmation episode perhaps, but I'd also be like raising the stakes, and there was real danger, and then suddenly this show is on, and it's like oh, this is doing that. And it was cool. It was a really, really neat time. And it kind of, maybe for me, it hit me at a time in my life where I was like, I'm supposed to be an adult right now, and I don't really want to be. And this is like, this is making me feel, it actually is making me feel okay about having those feelings. Like, it's okay,
So both the cartoon and the toys came out in what was it, 2002, if I remember right.
Yes.
And the thing that also came out that same year was Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Every time I actually played hooky from work at least 3 times that summer, I needed a break. I was doing this freelance project that was eating up my nights. I literally was going to bed at 3 a.m, getting back up at 7 or 8 and going into work. And I was doing that daily, which was not helping me at all. So there'd be days where I'd call off and then I'd go to the movie theater and watch Spider-Man for the 7th, 8th, 9th time that year and not even feel embarrassed or wrong for that. Because here it is, like, Spider-Man's on the big screen, He-Man's back on the toy shelves, and I'm sitting there going, I like this. Like, I feel legitimized, or whatever the term is, by the fact that there's so much stuff from my childhood that now is still coming back out, and it's relevant, and they're telling stories through them, and the stories are actually affecting people to make them go and, like in Spider-Man's case, turn it into a blockbuster that summer and stuff like that. And I mean, it was an amazing time. That was like my very early 20s when that stuff was going on.
Yep. So how about you, Bobby?
What's up?
What was your first experience with the Mike Young Productions, either the cartoon or the figures?
Well, I actually think it all sucks. So I'm not kidding. No, I remember when the cartoon came out, and I don't know. It was on in the afternoon. I can't remember the exact time, but I know I always told my boss I needed to leave early on the day it was on. So I rush home because I didn't have a DVR at the time or anything like that. So I'd rush home and to watch it live. Yeah. So she always thought it was kind of funny. I'm a grown man, have to run home to watch a cartoon, but they let me go because, downtown Chicago, it took me about an hour to get home. So, with the traffic and everything. So I tried to beat it before it, because I think it might have came out at 3:30 or 4 o'clock. I don't remember, but I would get off by 2 o'clock. So I'd get home in time just to watch it and stuff. So that was a good experience. And then, of course, the toys. I went after the villains all the time.
Yeah. Me too.
First, and I later on I picked up the heroes, but I did get all the villains. The only one that was tough to find in the store was Evelyn. I couldn't find her when it was originally coming out, but all the other ones are pretty easy, I believe. But that's my. I know I've told that story a bunch of times. Running home to see the cartoon, from work. But yeah, because my son was born in 2003, so it was. I think that was the second season. So I was like, go home, have him sitting with me, and then I just watch it. So it was nice.
Yeah. I mean, to have a kid at that time would have been really cool. To have been able to share that excitement with them.
Well, he was only a baby, so
yeah, but still, it's like you're just the sounds, having that baby there, the sounds of it, it's got to have affected him in some way, in a positive way. That time with Dad,
I remember. Yeah, I remember it was 3 seasons, right? So after the third season, it ended, and I was kind of disappointed with that because I thought it was a pretty good cartoon.
It was really getting going by that point.
Yeah, it was.
Like, to this day, I will stand by. I can't remember the first one. Damn it! What was it? It's the Council of Evil Part 1 and Part 2 and The Last Stand are some of the greatest He-Man stories ever, in my opinion.
The Council of Evil Part 1 and Part 2 are amazing.
Not just like for that show, but the fact that the idea Skeletor actually goes after these I'm going to use the word tertiary.
Yay, tertiary.
Tertiary villains from the first 2 seasons, and he's going and picking them up, and then the next thing you know, all of his guys are off the table, and he's okay with that because now he's got Giants, now he's got Count Marzo, now he's got Webstore, and he takes everybody down using these tertiary villains, and the only one left is He-Man, and the only one left technically is Adam. And I'm like, oh my God, it was one of the greatest stories they ever told on that show.
Yeah, that could easily, they could turn that story into a movie. That'd be a great
absolutely
movie.
Oh, for sure, for sure. The Stinkor origin was great.
Yeah.
I mean, come on,
I enjoyed
that's
that one a lot.
Me too. As a kid, as a kid, and when the show was still on TV, I was, when are they going to show Stinkor? Right, that's how I felt. And so having Stinkor show up made me real happy. And I mean, Matt Deutsch was with me when I found when I decided to buy the NECA staction of Stinkor at PowerCon, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made because those prices have gone up since then. And
to find it without being broken.
With those tubes, the tubes intact.
Yep.
Yeah. Huge Stinkor from the 2000X Mike Young Productions. That design is just awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
I was very disappointed when they didn't make the action figure of him.
Yeah, me too.
I was really wanting. I did buy the staction of Clawful when it came out.
Yeah,
I didn't buy any other ones, but I don't think I've seen any other ones around.
Yeah, no, there's 2 stactions of Clawful, right? A big one and a smaller big one.
Well, there's a statue one of them from that era. That's a big one.
Yeah, I got that's one.
A staction one that's more the figure size and stuff.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
The biggest crime of the 2000X era for me is they had to write the episode with Tuvar and Badra, and we've never gotten figures for them ever.
Right.
Ever.
I know.
Like that has always broken my heart because once I watched that episode, I'm like, I need these. I literally like I'm aching for these figures because they were great on the show, and I loved Tuvar. He's a great figure in and of himself and character. But when you see them as bounty hunters, my God, how cool is that?
Look at this guy.
Yeah.
The 2000X Too Bad design is just beautiful.
By the way, the guy that sells that, I can see his little card in the back.
Right guy.
If you want to buy from anybody, buy from him. He's got the best He-Man figures.
Right guy
might be a little
fantastic.
Might be a little pricey, but it's he's got perfect stuff. And I don't know him personally, but I used to buy from him years and years and years ago. So
he has good stuff. This is probably sold by now, but
sure.
But yeah, he's great. I think I bought a few things.
Yeah, he won't rip you off. So if he tells you it's brand new or whatever, or he'll even tell you if the vintage will have the bands replaced. He'll tell you if they were or not.
Yeah,
so that's how good he is. Yeah,
that's cool. Awesome.
I don't know if you guys know who he is, but I don't. But
I don't know who he is, but he's a legend in the communities that I've been part of. Like, the moment Rye Guy is mentioned, it's like, oh yeah, that guy. we all see his stuff on eBay. But so I have a question for you, Sean. If the Origins Too Bad came with the 2 separate figures and a way to merge them, which is what we've always wanted, but it's Origins, would you get it?
No, because I don't collect Origins.
But I would appreciate. You gotta get
that they did it, but it's I am really weird about that. Like that, I have my OCD about that, where like I have some CGI figures on the shelf because I was buying those with my son for a while. And I'll put them in with my classics, and even those, I'm like, well, they don't belong there. What the hell are they doing there? And it's like, well, there's the nostalgia of my son playing with them with me. So, all right, fine. But like the thing about that figure, when I first saw him for real, there is a lot to be said when you look at that and you see their personalities coming out so well just in
great.
that.
Yeah.
And it's like as kids, all we had was this, like Adam was saying, you punch them in the face. Here you get to get an idea of one of them is being kind of like stoic, and the other one's just like he wants to just start a bar fight, and I love it.
I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
Mondo releases the two figures with a way to merge them together, and it's $600.
My wife's gonna kill me then, but I'm
you're gonna go for it.
It's worse. I mean, it's bad enough that when they did the Battle Cat box art, there's Skelcons on there. So it's like if they would go here, because that's the other thing. I got to admit, the other thing about that is that's never been done yet. They've never produced those figures. So there is a part of me that even if it was in Origins, I might actually go, well, I might do it just to go, hey, I finally got them somehow, even if they're not in the style I want them in. But
you gotta get if they offer it in Origins, you got it. It's like something that we've all wanted to see. We've all wanted to have that opportunity to put them together. Tuvar and Badra, to have them like, to put them next to one another, hating each other, not getting along, and then being able to merge them somehow as a toy, just is like, it's a dream come true.
Yeah, it would be very hard to pass it up. I'll admit it.
Yeah. This is one. So I did like you, Bobby. I got all the villains, the core villains. I found Evil Lyn. I found Skeletor. I found Beastman. I found Merman. Right off the bat, I got all those characters, but I didn't go deeper than that. I stopped at that point. I never got any of the heroes, and I never got to have Too Bad. And then by the time I had stopped collecting, they announced a PowerCon exclusive Flocked Mossman, something like that. Not PowerCon, it was Comic-Con exclusive, right?
Or it was a magazine. I can't remember what it was. Mail Away,
something like that. And I missed the boat on that.
Mail Away.
Yeah.
Because I know I didn't get the Mossman. I did not get the Faker either. That was an exclusive.
Oh yeah, Faker too.
But I didn't. But that didn't bother me because those two weren't in the cartoon, so it didn't really bug me too much.
Yeah.
But I have all the characters. I don't have the variants. I don't like. I never got into the Skeletor variants, the 2 million He-Man variants.
Disco Skeletor never tugged at your heartstrings.
No, not at all. I don't like it.
But, no, plucked at your heartstrings. I mean, Disco Skeletor.
I would like to get the variant of Trapjaw, the green one, but I don't have that one either.
I had Trapjaw too. I didn't mention him, but he was the first one I got because I was just like so impressed
he's
what they did with this.
His head seems really small, but it's compared to his body. But it
didn't matter to me. I was like, holy shit, this guy's great. Like, it's exactly what I wanted him to look like how I envisioned he would really look in real life. I thought all these figures to me at the time felt like this is what they would look like if they were in a movie. And
I liked it because they look just like the cartoon. I thought that was very impressive.
Yeah,
because I didn't really know anything about it at the time. I just watched the cartoon. I bought the figures. I didn't know who was making them or what. I didn't get into it like that. But I was like, oh, that's really cool that they look just like how they look there. So that's pretty neat.
The thing for me though is to this day, even with Mondo doing what they just did last year, that is still the design you got to beat for Trapjaw for me.
Yeah,
and it's like it's a 22-year-old design,
right?
And it's still, to me, that knocked it out of the park so much that when I saw what the classics did and when I saw what Mondo did and other versions, I'm always just like, where's my 2000X version? I really want a redone version of that for like classics or, something. I mean, Mondo's probably the closest right now to feeling like it, but yeah.
This guy, there's some serious nods to 2000X in this Masterverse one. The belt, especially, it's not as big as the 2000X belt, but it's got all the little, the sculpt that's very similar. And I felt that way too for a long time, Sean, until I got my hands on this Masterverse one, which I think is really impressive. I do think that I almost, maybe it's blasphemous to say this, but I almost feel like the 2000X Trapjaw, I almost prefer him over the Classics version, which makes me like the Masterverse version over the Classics version.
I can see that.
I mean, it's just it's difficult. It's difficult for me. But Trapjaw always looks good.
I think the 2000X one has more personality than the Classics one does.
Yeah, I agree.
What did you guys think about? So with this cartoon, we look at him as Cronus, so before he loses his arm and his jaw. What did you think about just having that kind of? They didn't flesh out the origin except for in the actual comics for the series. But what did you think about that kind of origin for him?
Well, at least for me, like I said before, I was thrown off when I saw Keldor in the first episode and that whole issue. It was like, it threw me off. But then, and I think he appears as Cronus in that first episode too, doesn't he?
For just like a moment or two. Yeah.
And so I was like, what is this? But once they treated us to these episodic origin stories, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I don't really have me personally, I don't have a problem with Cronus as a character that was Trapjaw first, but I'm not a fan of Cronus. I like the idea that he was mutilated and turned into Trapjaw, but I'm just not a huge fan of Cronus as a character, although I still will stick by this. The Origins version of Cronus is super weird, and I got a toy crush on that guy. He is there's something very special about him, and I don't know what it is, but it's awkward. He's awkward. It's a bad sculpt, and there's something special there.
It's cheesy.
Super cheesy.
Yeah, well, the origin one looks cheesy. The Classics one, I mean, it looks very good. It looks very polished. But I mean, it makes total sense that Trapjaw, obviously, he had to have lost his arm at some point. Had to have lost his jaw. Yeah. But just the look of Cronus, he is a little bit boring to look at, I think.
Yeah, I don't know why they would give him the helmet and then they add the jaw to it later on. I mean, that's like walking around like from the 1920s and you're playing football, and now you're going into the new league this year, so you just put a mouth guard on. It's just dumb.
That's exactly it.
I don't like Cronus. I didn't like that whole part of that story, but that's just me though. But I do want to say one thing about the cartoon is I don't know if you mentioned it or I saw it somewhere, but people used to complain about them always spinning their weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's badass. I don't know. I mean, well, I do. It made a lot of action happening, and Filmation has action to it, but this really ramped it up, I thought. And I was like, all these guys are kicking ass and fighting and all this shit. And I was like, this is pretty cool, when I first saw it.
Especially the first episode with Skeletor with his swords. Constant,
I just like, it's almost like the Japanese animation, and we got Merman, he's like crouched and he's got that. I don't know. I think it's because I love Japanese animation from the 70s and stuff. So I like a lot of that stuff. So I don't think
it's fun
too much. It's fun. It made it fun.
The thing that I went into it when I first watched that first episode, I don't know why my brain translated it this way, but I did, and I just stuck with it for a while until I found out that it was actually because they had to make the episode longer because they didn't know it was going to be a movie of the week kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So they padded the action out to make it feel like an hour and a half versus it being a 30-minute episode or whatever, or 2 episodes maybe or whatever. But the thing that I took from that in my own headcanon was maybe on Eternia they had a way that they battled that implied you had to do that in order to make it feel like it's a legitimate fight for some reason. I don't know why my mind went there, but I was like, well, they're on another planet. You don't know if like back in the freaking like 1700s, the Revolutionary War, people lined up and they shot. And then they were shot at and probably fell. And I'm thinking to myself, it wouldn't be surprising if they had some stupid rules of combat that they did on Eternia that made you go, well, you have to twirl your weapon 5 times before you can win this fight. And so for anybody who watched the first episode, Mechanic and Triclops won that no matter what, because they did 12 or 14 or whatever. But in my own headcanon, I just went there, and then Matt was like, no, actually they had to elongate the episode for time, and I'm like, son of a bitch. That's why they did it. Like I like my Eternia war battle etiquette better personally. That's just my own headcanon. So
yeah,
wow. I would never have thought of anything like that. I just look at it and just say, this is cool. That's as far as I go. You know,
I like it. I like thinking about the decisions, why the reason why a decision is made. And I love that there's so many possibilities behind something as simple as an extended scene of twirling of weapons, that to think that somebody's like, well, we just gotta make it a little bit longer. Let's just make it about 10 seconds longer, and then we'll see if anybody catches it. One thing that I did note because I got Skeletor before I watched the cartoon, I did feel like Skeletor was brutal as an action figure, and in the cartoon he didn't have the same kind of terrifying visage as he has.
He was I thought he's pretty villainous though. I thought he was.
Oh, definitely cool. Villainous. I just wanted his face to look just like this. Like,
I see.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, the Skeletor of the figures, Skeletor is the most impressive to me. Just the colors, the level of detail, all of the elements that are brought out, like the faces and on his armor and shin guards and everything. It's just amazing.
It's great. It's amazing. Did you hear my voice squeak? I just went through puberty again. It's great.
The only thing, so I'm gonna be that guy, but I don't care. He-Man comes in the mail. I open him, and he had the waist action, and that made me so happy. They didn't do anything to him other than he has a waist action, just like the original figure.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, I open up Skeletor, and there's a goddamn plunger on his back, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Why do I need a plunger on his back? All I needed was the waist articulation, the swivel waist thing, and that's all you needed for half of these figures." And Mattel's like, let's do the action features. And I'm like, can we have waited for the variants to do this stuff? Because otherwise it's a perfect Skeletor. There's that stupid switch on the back that drives me freaking up the wall, though. Oh, I hated
the plunger on the back was very like
it's pronounced.
Very like McDonald's Happy Meal toy.
Yes.
It offended me. It broke the sculpt in such a way that I was like, are you kidding? Like, this is a gorgeous figure, and here's this right on the back. It drove me nuts.
Which is funny, because I feel like the Happy Meal versions of these toys, or was it Burger King? I forget if it was McDonald's.
I think it was Burger McDonald's. King. Is it? Or is
it was a Happy Meal figure. Yeah.
So the Happy Meal figures didn't look as good as the
Ram Man was great though.
But they were almost these figures. I mean, they were like just smaller.
Yeah, the Ram Man I liked.
The Ram Man was good. I found him at a thrift store not too long ago for about $2. The Happy Meal version. But the Happy Meal toys are kind of spectacular. If you find them out there, folks.
Yeah, the only one I had, I think, was Ram Man. I don't know if I had any others.
And Fisto was great too. Fisto was awesome.
Battle Fist.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a cool figure. The only thing is the action feature of the pop out fist is so oversized that it kind of detracts. But I do they make him look like a Viking, which he should look like, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that weapon that's on the floor there, the reason why it's on the floor is because it's hard for him to hold that.
Yeah. Oh,
this
sorry.
is one
Go
of
ahead.
my favorites. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say on the cartoon, the one thing that drove there were a few little things here and there, but one thing for my personal taste, because I love Fisto as a character, was the minute that they showed him and he had a huge hand.
Yeah.
I remember groaning and like, I didn't need to know that. That was one of those things that just
that
let
was
him
weird.
be there with the metal fist on and let it be a mystery of what it is. Because once you saw the big fist, I was like snickering to myself going, oh, this is just not a good joke in my head right now. Like, I didn't need this visual.
Well,
I would have
maybe they did it because of the Filmation version of Chopper. He's got the big
right.
hand.
That's true. Yeah,
it could be.
You
But
want a fresh one?
I don't know. It was so weird to see that compared to in my own head. I always looked at it as he was wounded in battle, and so it was his statement like you didn't take that from me. In fact, now it's bigger and it's come back to kick your ass. You know?
Maybe he was in the previous episode of Tom and Jerry and he got it crushed.
That's right.
Well, I mean,
that's right.
He punched that mountain so hard he broke it anyway. He literally shattered his fist, and that's why Man-at-Arms does what he does to help him. But I would have rather it already have been past that point, and I don't have to have that big fist in my freaking head for the rest of my life. But
I like what Thanos is saying here. They both got stung by Buzz-Off.
There you go.
I do want to venture into this territory because the Merman figure from this line is simple but spectacular.
It is spectacular.
He is gorgeous. The sculpt on that face. Oh, so good. He's
the armor. I mean, everything about him. Yeah, the armor, his wrists, fins. It's all cool stuff.
And majestic. Totally. And he's so reminiscent of the card back art that we never got that version of Merman. And so seeing this, when I saw this in the store, I was like, I was shattered by the joy I was feeling. And so, Mattel, if you're listening, this is the Masterverse Merman, Masterverse New Eternia Merman that we got to have because it's spectacular.
If they did it right, they could probably have some clip-on armor parts like on his wrists and things, and different armor. They could do cross-sell Merman, and they could do 2000X probably in the same
absolutely
figure.
I think that I'm hoping that's what they do, because after seeing what they did with Trapjaw and seeing that they were actually willing to give a nod to Mike Young Productions and to those original Four Horsemen designs, like I'm hoping that's what they do with Merman. God, if they ever give us that, like, I don't understand what the deal is. Like, what, why it's taking so long. Sorry, I didn't mean to get so angry about it.
Well, they gave us two Mermen, but they were both from the cartoon, and one of them had no armor. And
it's not.
Felt like kind of a waste.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the hard truth. I mean, the sad truth. Sad truth. I love Merman. He is one of my favorites of all time. Every iteration, I'd be happy to try and get an iteration of Merman. I haven't gotten those Revelation Merman. That goes to show, like, just how, in my opinion, those figures just don't meet the standard that Merman is supposed to meet. I prefer the vintage figure over, I mean, the vintage figure he's got a special place in my heart, but I'd rather buy the Origins version of the vintage figure than the Revelation version of Merman. So, but yeah, this guy's spectacular.
Yeah, he is.
And Triclops is pretty darn great too.
Yeah, they all are. I like them.
Yeah. I put this guy in for the Dooch in case he ever watches. And Cyclone has never been one of my favorites, but I know Matt loves Cyclone.
That version is really good, though.
But this is the best version of Cyclone ever.
Like spins and all that stuff. Yeah,
it's so cool. It's so cool.
And that ring, it can move around and stuff.
And I like that they used those on that cartoon, which was cool because initially it just looked like, okay, they made something new of the design, and then when he used it in the cartoon, it's like, oh, this is where it gets tsunami level. This is freaking cool. Like, I love that they gave a purpose to that. But the thing too, looking at him, I mean, as a kid, he was always kind of this weird figure. Like, I never knew, is he a robot? Is he what is he? And when you look at this version, it almost defines him better than anything the original line did. So in that way, it's like for ones like him and Trapjaw and some of these characters, the designs of this filled in gaps I didn't do with my own childhood mind. And it made me go, this is that story now, but looking at the figure, because the design is so well done.
Yep. It's so great. It's great. I mean, I love that they took the time to make the wristbands and the ankle bands look like they're levitating off of his body. I mean, that's really cool. Ace has a question for us and for the chat. And I don't know the answer to this. What sound does Battle Sound Skeletor make? Does anybody know? Because I don't know. I've never heard it.
He makes the battle sound.
Okay.
I mean, they did.
The battle sound.
I mean, they had that sound like it was like the weapons clashing. But then He-Man actually did like, it's like shing ting ting or whatever. But He-Man actually did the I Have the Power, and they had two versions of him. One was Cam Clark and one was John Irwin doing it. And then with Skeletor, I don't remember if he had a tagline or if it was just the noises, because
it did.
I remember.
I never had this, but I've got like the toys of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe PDF on my Open Up. So it says it actually had the voice of Alan Oppenheimer that said "Eternia will be mine" using the classic Skeletor voice.
Oh wow.
I'm trying to look it up. Maybe there's a sample on YouTube or something. Let's see.
Yeah, there's got to be.
We'll just have to listen to a commercial first, but let me see.
It's always that way.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of YouTube.
Bad. I know. YouTube. Who even watches YouTube anymore?
I know.
Oh wait, there's 15 people watching
on YouTube.
Battle Sound. This is Grandpa typing in his phone. Battle Sound Skeletor sound. Battle Sound Skeletor sound. No, I'm just getting all those Skeletor being Skeletors. Skeletor at his best.
Yeah, all those stuff. Yeah, that's what I say. You'll probably get a bunch of sound bites from the cartoons.
A to Z of Skeletor's insults.
Dude, that's a good one.
Oh, here we go. Popeye the Sailor Man, live action AI movie starring Will Smith.
What?
It's awesome. I am what I am.
The internet was a mistake.
The internet is kind of hilarious sometimes. All right, let's see. Do you guys don't have YouTube Premium? No, I don't. I do not have YouTube Premium. You know, I had this kind of fantasy that if I reached 1,000 subscribers, I would get YouTube Premium, but no, that's not the case. That's not the case. So let's see. Let me see who else I have here. Too bad we looked at these guys. Oh yeah. I forgot to center this one, but the Beast Man is pretty badass.
Yeah, he is.
He's great.
And that's Moss Man without the moss.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Moss Man without the moss.
I like the design, but the color of the armor bugs me. I look for the classic colors, no matter what the sculpt is. I want to see those classic orange and red colors.
And red,
yeah. But if you look the Bad to the Bone Toy Fair article, that the original prototype they did have the classic red armor, red wristbands, red knee knee armor.
Yeah.
So it must have been Mattel that changed these colors.
I think it's like this in the cartoon. So Mattel was like,
Yeah.
let's make it look like the cartoon.
Yeah.
I don't mind that so much, but I do love those colors from Beastman. The red and the orange together, and the blue, red, orange, and blue.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, beautiful colors.
And I actually prefer this Beastman. Well, I don't have to even use the word actually. I think a lot of people might share this feeling, but I prefer this Beastman over the Revelation Beastman by far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I feel like Revelation Beastman was a missed opportunity to really give us the aesthetic of Beastman that we love, that I love. You change up the face, you change up that face of Beastman too much, and it's disappointing for me. But it works. It works for the 2000X Beastman. I like it. Who else do I have in here? I didn't grab a lot of figure images because I just didn't have enough time, but we've looked at all of them. He-Man, I was not interested at all. I just didn't get him. But he's a cool figure. He's a cool He-Man.
Yeah. He looks good when you sit him on top of Battle Cat.
Oh yeah.
He-Man's another one where the colors slightly bother me because I feel like the furry parts on his costume are too dark. Like
I would say they're very dark. Yeah.
Too much contrast with his skin. And I don't think green's a good color necessarily for He-Man. So those green hits on his sword, I don't think.
Yeah, I never understood that either. I never understood the weapons.
Yeah.
They're all so huge.
Yeah, they're enormous.
Did you ever see the gun for Man-E-Faces? That thing is...
Yeah, it's enormous. It's all, yep.
Sculpt-wise, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking Moistly says, the new Eternia Beastman is the best Beastman. I can see why people would feel that way. And I think that they really took the time to combine some elements from 2000X into that one, too.
Yeah.
He's pretty great. Yeah. Also good to have you here, Speaking Moistly. It's good to have you. But that's it for the images that I have, and we can continue to talk about 2000X, but I really, now that Bobby's here, it's the perfect time to take a little break and jump into the Battle Ram report. So Bobby, you ready to do your intro?
Oh, well, you guys didn't pay me for this week, so.
I sent you the money through Venmo. You didn't get it?
Is that where it's at? Okay.
All right. Let me see. Let me get the music set up here. Wait, do we do rock or do you want to try Into Space?
I don't know. You could do whatever you want.
Right. Let's try Space. Just mix it up.
Let's see. It's gonna sound. If it sounds cheesy, I'm turning. If the first two notes sound horrible, I'm turning it off. Okay, we're not even gonna start. All right, I'm done. Okay.
Yeah. Not enough energy.
Not enough energy. Here we go.
All right, all you bastards. Ready for another Battle Ram report? We have one for you. Joining you now is Adam from the BattleRamBlog.com, the best website for all He-Man that you need to know. He is the best at what he does. Here he is, Mr. Adam. Take it away.
Awesome. Genius. Thank you, Bobby.
Amazing.
All right. So this week, kind of building on, not last week, but the week before, where we kind of had a quiz show. I thought it might be fun to do another one, albeit a shorter quiz show. And this one's a little bit probably more accessible to everybody, because it's not like esoteric, some Mattel designer came up with once upon a time for Cyclone. It's test your toy knowledge. So it's basically just some fun facts about vintage toys, and you guys can try to figure out which toys meet the descriptions for each of these questions. And you can go ahead and throw your answers into the chat. So, awesome. Yeah, and these are actually, if you followed my Twitter, I did something very similar to this years ago, but it was more of just like a fun fact, about these toys. It wasn't a quiz, but recycled a little bit from there.
I love
So, question one. Which vintage figures came with only a shield for an accessory?
Oh, that's easy.
Stinkor.
Yep.
Stinkor and Too Bad.
Too bad. Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't
Cyclone.
and Cobra Khan.
He had a gun.
No, he had a gun.
He had the Zodiac.
Oh, that's right. He had a gun. That's right. We got Too Bad, Stinkor from Thanos, and Speaking Moistly. Anybody else? All right. What do you think, Adam?
All right, let's show. We're using cross-sell art again for just to illustrate.
The best.
Yeah, can't go wrong there.
Oh,
the other one was Extendar, even though his cross-sell doesn't show it, but he has that cool folding red shield.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Because his hands can't hold anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, Too Bad had two different shields, right? Were there two different sculpts?
Not that I know
there were two different chest sculpts that he had.
Yes.
Right. And I feel like there may have even been. I could be imagining this, so don't.
Yeah, I don't
think
there is one. I don't recall.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's certainly possible. If you're talking production variants, there's and especially if you're talking international, there are a ton of variants, and I don't know them all for sure.
Yeah, I could have also just dreamt it because that's just me.
That's a weird dream.
Welcome to my life, Bobby. Welcome to my life. All
right. Which vintage figures came with accessories based on the original Castle Grayskull weapons? So the ones that usually hung on the weapons rack with the original Castle Grayskull.
Whiplash?
Yes.
Web store.
With the gun.
Manny Faces had that variant where he had many weapons or whatever, so he had all of them.
He had 5 of them. Yeah.
Well, then you got all the ones with the shields. The Stinkor shield.
Yeah.
Does this count? Does the shields count?
Shields count because the shield was one of the Grayskull weapons.
Yep.
Somebody had the. No, I don't know. I can't recall who had the little sword.
There was one who, well, Manny Weapons had the little sword, but there's another one that had the little sword as well.
What about the axe? Buzzoff had the axe, right?
Correct. He had a modified version of that original axe, but I included him because it's based on it.
Was the spear also Whiplash's, or was his specific?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he had that spear. Yeah,
he had that spear.
Wonder Bread He-Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. He had it wasn't consistent, but some of them had the axe or the sword or both. Some of them just had a shield.
Scareglow, the same spear?
The halberd.
No, that was Oh, that was the other one. One of those was included, right?
Yeah,
The halberd. Yep.
Yep.
Web store had the gun. Oh,
Flash King Randor.
King Randor had the spear.
That's right.
Yep.
Wow, that's a lot of them.
That's a lot. There's only one more that you guys missed. Actually, no. Well, 2. Maybe 2. I don't know if we mentioned someone.
Oh, the mace was included.
Yes.
The mace. So Mossman and Clawful. Yeah.
That's it. You got them all.
Woohoo! Oh, look at that beautiful cross-sell art. Oh, it's just amazing.
That's the good stuff.
That is the good stuff. Hey, we got Alf Implict here.
Hey.
Good to see you here. All right, next question.
All right. Which vintage MOTU toys reused parts from the Big Jim line?
Oh.
Battle
Battle Cat and
Screech and
Screech.
Zor.
Zor.
Mhm.
Yeah. I can't think of any others.
I mean,
the
you could
trap
base
jaw
one.
guy.
Yeah,
but,
so I was
yeah,
to say, right. That's based on it, not reused, right?
right. We've got Speaking Moistly saying Battle Cat. Yeah.
Panther.
And Panther.
Panther, Zora, Screech, Battle Cat, Snake Mountain.
Snake Mountain. Oh, that's right. Speaking Moistly, Beastman's Whip. That's right.
Yep.
Good one.
Yep.
I remember.
That's why it's so big.
Yep. It's such a weird thing. He holds the other part.
Yeah, it's the.
He holds,
and they put that in the cartoon too.
I know. They did. They
sense.
did. It's ridiculous.
It made it like a switch or something, right?
Yep.
And it's followed him ever since because he's got it on the classics. I'm looking at it right now.
Absolutely. Well, I can't think of any more. I can't think of any more of these.
There's a couple more, but
there are.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
They're a little esoteric.
Another good word. Adam's bringing the good.
We should have the Pee-wee's Playhouse word of the day, where we all have to shout.
Tertiary.
Tertiary.
Band name: Esoteric Tertiary.
That's good. Good album title for a prog rock band.
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody else? Anybody in the chat? Any other? There's some not tertiary. There's some. What was the word you used? Now I've already forgotten.
Esoteric.
Esoteric. There's some esoteric Big Jim. It's gonna be something like. It's gonna be something spectacular, like an entire figure, like Rock On or something. All right, I'm chomping at the bit, Adam. I'm chomping
the gun.
All right, let's. No, nothing on Grayskull.
Yeah. What?
There's a couple of other things. Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
Web store, his hook actually comes from a Big Jim pirate boat. It's the anchor grappling hook
makes sense.
From the pirate boat. So that was reused. And then Attack Track, the treads. This came out the same year as Attack Track, 1983. There was this Big Jim Spy Series all-terrain vehicle. I don't know which one came first, but they share the same tread, so I included it.
Oh wow,
that's cool. And then there's the whip. Yeah. That's great. Awesome. We're doing all the learning today, folks.
The good thing is we're pretty impressive. We know most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's doing great.
I'm questioning why I thought that. I'm wondering about my brain. Why did I think that Cobra Khan had a shield? I don't know what's wrong with me. All right.
It's okay.
And Alf, thank you, Bobby. Alf says, I knew there was a vehicle in there. Nice.
Sure.
Sure, Alf. Which vintage figures? Sorry, I started reading. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no. Which vintage figures, excluding Beast, so not Battle Cat, figures that have, stand upright, that nobody rides around on them. Which one of those had bare feet?
Beastman had bare feet.
Yeah, Beastman, Stratos.
Stratos.
Merman, yeah.
Merman, yeah.
Mossman.
he
Orko.
has no feet.
I know. Well, you don't know. He does.
Well, yeah. Maybe.
According to Mondo, he has feet.
Who has bare feet? So yeah, Stratos.
Bare feet.
Um,
Can I look?
no.
I'm doing it. Those claws are boots, so they don't count, right?
What figure are you looking at?
Like Clawful has those boots, but he has the claws.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
those are
I
bare
interpret
feet.
those as boots. Yeah.
Modulok would be one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Modulok.
Some of his feet are bare. Most of his feet are bare.
I think it's pretty spectacular that Modulok has bare feet and shod feet, and he gets to choose.
Yes.
What does that sign say? No bare feet. Remember that?
No food, no shirt,
fighting.
no shirt, no shoes, no service.
Yeah. No, it's from
okay.
What is it, Caddyshack?
Oh yeah, that's
when he
right,
slams the
right.
guy up in it. What does that sign say? No bare feet. It's like, no, it's right here.
I love Caddyshack. I need to see that again. I haven't seen that in like 25 years. Stratos, Mossman, Cobra Khan, Tongue Lasher, and
I
Ratlor?
thought Cobra Khan had feet.
Tongue Lasher and Rattler are barefoot though, so those two are right.
Okay. Cool. I forgot about Mossman.
I think there's only two more that you guys
Two
missed.
more? Okay, hold on.
Leech.
Leech?
Leech, yes.
The only evil horde.
Oh.
Guy with bare feet.
No.
I'm just going through my head of all the figures I have on my shelf.
Yeah, I can't think of any more off the top of my head now.
And we're only talking about the vintage figures.
Vintage figures only, yeah.
Merman.
It says it right there.
Yeah, I said Merman earlier.
Oh, you said Merman? Okay.
Yep.
Oh.
We're not talking... Okay, but, New Adventures counts as vintage.
It does, but I didn't include them in this.
Okay. Darn it. I was going to say... Yeah.
Yeah, the original Masters line.
Oh, Alf Inflict. Mantenna has 2 bare feet and 2 booted feet? How come I never noticed that?
So I believe that would be the Filmation version.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
The toy. Now I'm doubting myself, but
because you said Ratlor and
Rattler and Tongue Lasher have bare feet.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'm looking at the vintage Mantenna right now. He's got 2 boots.
Yeah, I would say he's.
four boots. 4 boots.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not Scarecrow, right?
Nope, he's got boots.
Yeah, it's the purple.
This is tough. Wait.
It is tough because probably if you're looking at your collection, this one's not in there.
Probably. I know.
Yeah.
Manny Faces. I'm just kidding. That'd be funny.
If you're looking at your collection, this one's not in there.
Probably not. Just given.
Megator.
Megator, you got it. That's it.
Oh, nice. Good. All right.
Count those though.
Megator totally counts. Yep, there it is. Look at all those bare feet.
Something stinks in here.
And it's not Stinkor for once.
It's not Stinkor. That's cool.
All right. Which vintage figures, excluding Beasts again, had ball jointed shoulders, meaning that they could raise their arms up from the side like this?
Okay, well, you got Cyclone.
Hmm. I'm stumped.
Cyclone's the most obvious. There's 4 more. I'll give you that clue.
Not
4
Rockon and
more?
Stondar, right?
No, they just went up and down.
Yeah.
Oh, I am stumped on this,
Sorceress.
Adam.
Sorceress, yep. She's
Oh,
one.
Sorceress, yeah.
And again, some of these are not going to be in a lot of people's collections. A couple of these will be unlikely to be in your collection unless you have a complete vintage collection. Bobby might have these.
Oh, the Twistoid and Roton.
Ah.
Return Twistoid, yep. There's one more, a little more common.
Oh. I don't know about this, but Eldor is saying, hi, Eldor. Eldor is saying Flying Fist He-Man? No? Yeah.
They just went up and down. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Good try, though, Eldor.
A little more common.
A little more. It's not as hard to get as like a Rotor and Twistoid.
Oh, was it Orko has them, right? No?
No?
Nope.
Just go up and down.
Gwildor?
Nope.
Blade.
Nope.
Nope. Damn it. I never had him, so.
Yeah. Highly and Dread said Blade too.
You would think because of the type of figure he is, but
Right.
I mean, with the action. I mean, with the swords.
Right. I am stumped.
Yeah, none of the variants did the. I was about to say Terrorclaw Skeletor, but his just went up and down, just like Flying Fist did.
Yep.
Was it Possum in a Peanut?
Yes, that is it. That is exactly it.
That's funny.
Sorry. Oh, I know. Was it Dog Penguin?
Jesus.
Does he have any articulation at all?
No. Zero
Dog
articulation.
Penguin looks like he should talk like Michael Keaton Batman all the time.
He does. He definitely does. Oh!
Horde Troopers. Yeah.
Yes, that is it.
Oh,
That is
Yeah, I was thinking
Alf.
that, but I didn't think so. Yeah.
Nice. Good job, Alf. And okay, Duchess is saying Sorceress, and Joe is saying Cyclone, and speaking Moistly is saying King Hiss. Is that true about King Hiss?
Nope.
No. We tried.
We got them all, right?
Really well.
Yeah, we got them all. That was it. There's five characters.
Did that disappear from Amazon? We just found it. You might want to try again, Ace. My wife just got that for me for Valentine's Day. So they're out there, the Possum and the Peanut. There's also Pug and a Peanut and a couple of other ones. All right. Let's see the image here.
Yep.
Yeah, there they are. That's cool. Nice. Good job, everybody.
Nicely done. All right. Which vintage figures, excluding Beasts again, had one or more spring-loaded arm?
Fisto and Jutsu.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Too bad.
Yeah,
Too bad.
Too bad.
Huh. How many are there?
There's 5, so you've got 3 so far.
I keep looking back here and I come back with no answers.
Jitsu?
Wait, does spring-loaded
Jitsu
mean...
is one, yep.
Jitsu, Fitso, and
Jitsu, Fisto.
We're talking about...
Too bad.
Yeah.
Or I mean Ninjor. I meant Ninjor.
Oh,
no.
Yep.
No.
Ninjor does. He does, yep.
Okay.
I think
I have him.
I
remember him.
I never
I
had
think
him.
both arms, I believe, are spring-loaded, actually.
Interesting.
How
well,
about...
I don't play with him, so I don't know.
Does Clawful's claw count?
No.
No.
What
it's got to be in the shoulder.
Yeah, basically
Flying
shoulder,
Fist
you know,
He-Man?
you can make him punch or chop or whatever. Flying Fist He-Man, not spring-loaded. You have to turn his waist, and that's got gears that make it go up and down. So you've got one more.
How about Blade?
Blade, that is it.
All right,
Blade
Alf.
also had 2 spring-loaded arms.
Mm-hmm.
Hylian said Blade also. Speaking Moistly said Terror Claw's Skeletor. I almost said Skelevator. Terror Claw's Skeletor. Were those spring loaded? No,
that was another twist weight. Yeah, the same thing with the Flying Fist.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly like the Origins figure too. Just turn the waist and they go up and down.
There they are. Look at that. That's awesome. I have never been a fan of Blade. I never really had the urgency to go out and try and find a vintage Blade. But the cross-sell art, I gotta say, for him is really awesome.
I have the Blade figure. He's pretty cool. I actually like him.
Yeah.
He does look a bit like a different line, like he's not from Masters.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
All right, the last question of the night. Which vintage figures, excluding Beasts again, had cloth elements or textile elements?
Everybody's favorite, Prince Adam.
Ninjor.
King Randor.
Ninjor. Randor.
Prince Adam.
Yep. Oh, Scareglow.
Yep. Grizzlor.
Yeah.
Jawas.
Sand people.
They did. Yoda. Did Yoda have something?
Barbie.
Would Hordax key count?
Vinyl.
It's vinyl.
Because it's vinyl, I didn't count that.
Okay.
Moss Man.
Laser Light Skeletor.
Yep. Laser Light
Skeletor. Nice one, Alf. She-Ra.
She-Ra. I was only thinking vintage Masters of the Universe. If we're doing She-Ra, then it's going to be a lot. Yeah, almost
a lot of them. Yeah.
Plus all of the bonus outfits you could buy. They had extra.
Yep. Eldor says Ram Man. His socks.
I'm gonna cards on the table. There's 2 more, but they are not very obvious, and you might groan when we figure out who they are.
What is it? Doesn't those 2 giants have them?
So they don't have clothing like
netting or something, though.
Right?
They had hair, though.
They had hair, which is I believe it's a plastic material, so I didn't count that either.
Okay.
Speaking Moistly is saying Moss Man, but
it's synthetic.
I'm pretty sure that's the flocking, right?
Yeah, the flocking I didn't count either because I think it's
Okay, yeah, because I said that too. Yeah,
basically plastic pieces.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So there's two more. You're saying there's two more.
Two more. Yeah, very minor part of these figures.
We already said Prince Adam, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
What's small?
Ninjor.
I said
yeah, we said Ninjor.
We did Ninjor.
All right.
But that's a good one because I always forget that he had a cloth head piece.
Sheesh.
I'm trying to picture all my figures on my shelf.
I can't.
No Snake Men.
And Eldor is saying the net in Snake Mountain, but the netting wouldn't count, right?
No.
Well, I would have counted that because it is like a rope net, like it's like string
that's
that's
true.
made
Okay.
as rope. But I'm only talking figures.
Yeah, figures.
Right. Oh man. Oh, Molar.
Right.
This is tough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did Bobby? Did you say Grizzlor? Speaking moistly,
Yeah,
saying
I
Grizzlor.
did. Yeah, I said Grizzlor. Yeah.
Yep, Grizzlor's one.
How interesting. I can't think of it for the life of me. I have no idea.
I also, if we were
Slamurai.
talking Slamurai, he's not a vintage figure, but he would have come with cloth elements. Castle Grayskull would have counted because of the string.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The elevator.
Oh, the string! You're giving us a hint. Web store.
Yes, Web store is one, and then the other one should be easy too.
It would be Beastman.
Beastman.
Oh, okay, yeah, good. All right.
Whip.
Hylian, I tried New Adventure. Yeah, I was too. Hylian was saying New Adventure Skeletor, and I was just trying to tell Hylian, no, I tried New Adventures a while ago. That's great. Let's look at the picture. Amazing.
Nice. All right. Well, good job, guys.
We did it.
You know our shit.
That's right.
We do. Yeah, that's awesome. Your Battle Ram reports, Adam, are just swiftly becoming one of my absolute favorite parts of these shows. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Ace, that was intense. Yeah.
Vintage is where it's at, folks.
Vintage is where it's at. That's true.
I'm biased, but yeah.
I mean, it's true though. I mean, yeah, it's true. The vintage figures, it would be the first thing I would save if the house was on fire. Besides my family, of course. Save them first. But of the toys,
So you'd be like, get out. And then you'd be in your closet.
You have feet, run.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Can't carry you all on my back.
I'm bad at trivia. Me too, Thanos. I get stressed out. That would have been good. Ace Jeopardy music would have been awesome.
Yeah, then we get sued.
Oh, that's true. Speaking moistly says my head hurts. Yeah. And Thanos says I'm lucky I remember where I live. Me too, Thanos. Me too. And Battle Ram report rocks. Yeah, it does for sure. Absolutely. So, Cool. I'm trying to think of what other like if we were to do trivia of the 2000X line, what would how many had the the plunger action button?
That would piss Sean off to no end.
How many figures had no weapons?
Yep. How many were entirely re-released in different colors versus how many were never re-released in different colors?
How many versions of Skeletor are there?
Yeah, how many versions of Skeletor? How many versions of He-Man?
Yeah.
I do have a how many were mispackaged or mislabeled? I have a merman that's a beastman and a merman packaging.
Yeah, I remember you showing it.
Yeah.
Which I just love. I love that. I love throwing that around.
It's an exclusive.
Let's see.
Concluded. How many ones are glow in the dark in vintage too?
Oh, glow in the dark. Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah. There's
More
only
parts to it.
Only a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the?
Well, three parts, I think.
Yeah.
Just off the top of my head.
I'm trying. I don't know. So Scareglow. Oh, Evelyn's staff.
Yep, wand staff, whatever.
And
there's another accessory that glow in the dark. Well, and Scareglow European version also had a glow in the dark, but I was thinking of something else.
Yeah.
He had a glow in the dark weapon, but there's another accessory not related that also glows in the dark.
I'm stumped.
That would be the warrior ring that came with
Trapjaw
Tricops.
Yes. Well, that's another reason why I'm sad about missing out on the classics Triclops and did one come with with Trapjaw too, like an adult-sized glow-in-the-dark ring?
It came with Triclops only, not Trapjaw.
Okay,
because Trapjaw had like extra arm, extra head for Cronus.
Yeah.
So they gave Triclops. I don't have the ring; it's packed away. But he also came with the
yes.
Doomseeker repainted from 2000X too.
That's right. Elf Inflict said, "I got my Eternia today. Rearranged everything to fit it in."
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can't wait to see pictures.
Yeah, my shipping label was made on Tuesday, and it's still sitting there. So I don't know how long it'll take for them to ship it out.
I guess if we did like a quiz show on 2000X, though, I think I would probably not get very many right. As I admire it, but I only owned a few of them, and there's so many variants and weird vehicles and things.
There are. I never got to play with the Castle Grayskull from that line. Did anybody get to play with that or experience that?
Nope.
I saw it in the store and I was like, "That's cool," and then I just kept walking. Back then I couldn't afford. I could only afford to get so many things for myself. I've seen it at like toy shops and antique stores.
I've seen it in a box, but I've never seen it out of a box.
I've seen it out of a box, sort of. I've seen it in pieces, and I've seen it fully assembled. And I'm really, I don't know, this might rub people the wrong way, but I'm really not super into it.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big playset fan anyway, except for the vintage. So I just pass off on all the playsets.
Yeah. Visually, it's weird looking. It's very flat. It does. I watched a video recently, somebody just going through all the features. It seems like it'd be a fun toy, though. There's all kinds of traps and action sounds, and there's a secret room, and a lot. There's a lot to the inside. It's just
that's cool.
And I know it was not designed by the Volvers. This was done internally at Mattel, so it doesn't have kind of their stamp either.
Yeah.
That's why you don't like it.
That's right. You know what? Speaking Moistly's making a really good point. 2000X did come out at a bad time. We were all broke at that time. None of us had full career jobs yet, or maybe some of us did, but most of us didn't. It's like, we couldn't afford to get all those things.
Yeah, I was
That's right.
4 years into my job at that time, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Still there.
Wow, that's intense.
Actually.
Yeah, 26 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I admire that.
No,
Bobby.
it's not.
I do. I admire that. That's really that's dedication, man.
It is dedication. Well, they're dedicated to me too. So
Yeah, there you
I know
go.
a lot of people say that, don't trust that, but it's a small family. It's nice.
Yeah, that's cool. Alf is saying he may have to get rid of his bed.
Wow.
Don't get rid of your bed, folks. We need beds to sleep on.
That's right. You need that rest to play with your toys.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Well, what else about 2000X? We have 30 more minutes left. Is there anything else that we didn't cover in talking about Mike Young Productions 2000X He-Man and the Masters of the Universe?
From the cartoon, we've talked about what was it, the King Grayskull episode? What was it called? Power of Grayskull.
Power of Grayskull.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That was one of the. I would say it's the best episode. I feel like the story, like the explanation for how King Grayskull got his power, a little trite. But I did like just the fact that, well, one, that we got to see the evil horde, but I also, the King Grayskull as the ancestor of He-Man, to me makes a lot more sense than Hero, as like thinking of Hero as He-Man's progenitor. I mean, you can have ancestors that don't look like you or have behave like you. Heroes is so different though visually. I feel like if we're looking for like, okay, the ancestor of He-Man, King Grayskull seems more like that guy.
I think there's a kind of there's a kind of strength to King Grayskull that is very cool. And I like that there's the barbarian aspect is kind of more present in that character. Hero doesn't quite do it for me as a character, but I mean that's just an aesthetic thing. But yeah, you're right. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to mention about
Progenitor.
Hero. I think it's mostly a visual thing. Progenitor, yes. He looks like a 1980s hedge fund manager, just like with his haircut and his face.
yeah,
like
totally.
He doesn't have the look of like this is the ancestor of He-Man.
I totally agree, and also, he's wearing all that gold, right? I mean, there's a lot of gold going on there, and with that haircut, he just looks like he comes from money. And also, I just want to say, Progenitor is also a good Masters of the Universe character name. If we're creating Masters of the Universe. All right, for next year's create a character contest for podcasters of the universe, Progenitor. Just make sure you guys give Adam credit for coming up with that.
The episode itself, I remember when I found out there was one called The Power of Grayskull. When I saw the name, I lit up because I'm like, this is cool. Like, I did not know we were going to go into the history. And then when I found out what the episode was like, I'm like, that was like literally everything he had to deal with was on easy mode the entire episode. And it bugged me to no end. I was like, in order for him to figure these things out as quickly as he did, And the power's been in you all the time. I was like, I actually was, the first time I saw that, I actually used the F-bomb in my room to like, are you like this? That was one of those episodes where it's like the concept in my head was way cooler than the execution, unfortunately. But it was cool to go there at least. And the Horde being in it was also freaking cool. But there was too many parallels. I kind of wanted him not to even have a battle lion or something. I wanted him to have something completely not Battle Cat-esque to have it as his. And I will admit, like with Revelation, him riding on Bionatops was actually a better idea, in my opinion, especially for it showing that's how long ago he was compared to here's this big green lion he's riding around, and it was too easy.
Joe is saying, I agree with you, Sean, by the way. Joe is saying Hero was a wizard, though. So that explains why he's sort of, maybe more clean cut, maybe. But I see wizards with, with long hair and.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this guy actually almost looks more like a wizard than Hero does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I mean, it's different concept for sure.
Yeah, different concept. I mean, it's just, here's the deal. Where's the barber shop on Eternia? That's what I want to know.
Barbor.
Barbor. Oh my God, we're doing all the work for everybody here for next year's Create a Character contest.
There's Barbor, and then his partner is Scizor. And the two of them get together and they just make the Eternia look great. And it's awesome.
Well, that's Side Chop, right?
Yeah, Side Chop. Exactly. He went out on his own and that's his business.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it. So I don't know about you guys, but I've been meaning to go back and watch the episodes. Now that they're on Amazon Prime, I gotta invest some time in that and rewatch them. Yeah. I keep rewatching the Filmation show. Like at night when I'm falling asleep, I'll put it on and that's great. And I think I just got to start putting Amazon on.
Yeah, I watched all of them recently. They're almost all of them will hold up really good. Actually, even on this time around, I even enjoyed the Snake Man ones even more than I did the first time. I felt like there's a lot of tension. Like King Hiss is a pretty badass villain.
He's formidable in that.
Yeah,
that's true.
And
that's coming from me who hates the Snake Man. I'll admit it. They're actually formidable in 2008.
Yeah,
they're good. Yeah,
he eats somebody. you can see it in shadow. He's So.
And I love that they had Zodak in there, and he's his own. Like he's not the cosmic enforcer. He is his own like mystic monk kind of character. I didn't like that they're like, oh well, he can look at anybody and learn their weakness. I thought that was kind of like a lame idea. I would have liked just he can tap into, like the universe somehow, or something like a cosmic power maybe. But and I like that he is like one of the higher ups because they show him in the history of Eternia being somebody the sorceress relies on to almost take the place of He-Man here and there, and I was like, that's kind of cool, going to those places, it gives some characters way more agency than just he sits on a chair and flies around in the cosmos. I mean, that for me was like Zodak's badass in 2000X for my money at least.
Yeah,
I enjoyed him. And the original look they planned for him, he was more like an alien, like he had like 3 long Martian-y fingers. But then they revised it to what appeared in the cartoon.
I like Zodak.
Yeah, so do I. I've always been a fan of him.
I'm actually
like it.
The Masterverse figure of him is really good. I was totally just gonna not try and get this guy. But he's kind of spectacular.
I always liked his design. Even as a kid, he was one of the first ones I ever got. So it was I always liked him.
Yep. I love that helmet. That helmet's great.
Yeah, that's iconic.
Yeah.
I would love to get like a repro of that, like adult size.
Full size.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because like like they're making like the Star Wars helmets and stuff. I wish they would do a Zodiac helmet. I know someone makes one, but it's not an official.
Yeah. You hear that, Mattel? Make us some make us some masks. I know NECA's doing
I already told them once, or asked them to do it once.
Yeah.
On Twitter. Yeah.
I want a Ram Man helmet and shoulder thing.
There you go.
Joe's asking a good question. Maybe we can end on this. The show ended too soon. Where would you guys have liked them to go with it? I'll just speak for myself first, and I'll keep it quick. This full on horde.
Yep.
Like it would have been really cool to see us enter into the territory of the horde.
Yep.
Even bring in Etheria, too, a little bit.
Yeah, they could have done a lot with that.
They could have done a lot with that. That's what I would have liked to have seen.
And that's what the plan was. They just do it.
Yeah.
There's still time.
Yeah.
They won't do it.
No. But yeah, for sure, I would have loved to see it. One more season, at least one more season. Just kind of get like a complete arc. Get all the villains through.
Yeah. If they knew it was going to end, then they can finish it up. But this one ended without them knowing, so it's just leaves you hanging. Just like anything, like shows that end like that, it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. Maybe if they had gone to Earth and
kill the kids that were in the Christmas special.
Oh my God!
They're adults working
their adults
jobs, so they're
working at McDonald's.
Just beats the hell out of them or something.
They can crash a high school dance.
Yeah, crash the high school dance.
Or they're teachers at a school and they're teaching that Christmas song that they would sing all the time. And then you had they're all like in the auditorium, and then all the masters come barging in. Terrorizing everybody, all the villains, I should say.
Totally.
Those kids are just in straitjackets in a rubber room talking about Eternia and some elf that was flying around teaching them magic and about. And they're just like, why don't they believe us?
We should have stuck to the story that Santa Claus is real.
Yeah.
So let's see, 2000X. I guess the way I want to do it is I really felt like one of the characters that they messed up on the Snake Men season was Skeletor. You literally saw him get defeated and he never came back. I wanted to see full-blown Skeletor with a vengeance coming back and wrecking shop. And they wanted to do it where the Masters were going to be like an underground rebellion, and that Skeletor was going to actually be the one who wins. And I always thought that was an interesting concept. They kind of did that even in Revolution. But that would have been an interesting concept because they had no man at arms. He was a snake man. And like that whole idea of the progression of the story. And that show didn't shy away from it. So I love the idea of the Horde showing up and then Skeletor just full blown right after Hordak with the idea, I just came back. King Hiss took me out. The hell I'm going to let you take me out and take over Eternia. And this is mine. And like he just kind of sits on the side drinking lemonade going, I'll just take on whoever wins this one, And just let them have that because that version of Hordak was actually nightmarish. That would have been freaking amazing.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But as you said, we kind of got a little bit of that in Revolution.
Yeah, which I feel like there's things about Revolution where because Mattel owns the rights to 2000X, they're like, well, we can do little hints of these things in here because this was stuff that they wanted to do back then and they couldn't get to, so we can do our own take on that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they'd had like 2 more episodes, I feel like I wanted to see more Eternia oppressed by the Horde, like because it felt so quick. They took over and then they were defeated like within a very short period of time. I felt that would have just giving it a little more space, but they had to do what they had to do.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, sorry. I mean,
spoiler
sorry,
alert.
Bobby.
It's okay. It's no big deal.
Well, Alf asked if we think Tuvar is part of the Gar race, and that makes sense to me.
Sure, could be.
I don't know. He looked different than the Gar. The Gar typically were like human looking, but he's got the fangs and the weird.
Oh, that's true.
Head and maybe he was like a Gar mixed with something else or something, but. It seemed like everybody who had blue skin, they just were like, okay, that's Gar, that's it. And that was a simple umbrella thing. But it could have been interesting that he was maybe like half Gar or a mutated Gar or something.
Yeah.
I don't get into stuff that deep. I don't. I just don't do that.
He doesn't even like thinking about it.
No, I just want to see it on screen. I like it. I like the toys. But I can't dig into all that other stuff.
You want it. You want the show and the story to do.
Because I don't read any of the comics. I don't read any of the comics or anything. Besides the mini comics and all the old vintage stuff. But anything past 90, I don't really read it at all. So.
Yeah,
there was some good stuff here and there, but the new stuff is just not working the way they hope it will. I think.
It's problematic. And I think the more we complicate something, the probably I feel like the quality seems to lessen. It happened with Star Wars. It could potentially happen. It happens to certain elements of Masters. So it's just. And then Garfield being a Gar, I mean, I would say more like I know I see the Gar thing there, speaking moistly, but I think probably
it's just
Smurfs.
An ode to Odie.
Smurfs are Gar, I think.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're baby Gars.
Baby Gars, an ode to Odie. All right, so what do you guys got coming up for yourselves? Anything exciting on the horizon?
Nope.
Oh boy. All right. So Legends of Grayskull, we've been doing the episode by episode recap review for Revolution. I think the second episode of that came out this week, and they'll be spaced out. We'll be putting those out probably over the next week or two. And give your thought, and on top of that, we have a guest stars coming on to talk about it. So it's not just me and the douche the whole entire time, which is pretty cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you guys are going through each episode because it's nice to. I mean, hopefully we've all watched them like 12 or 13 times by now, but. It's nice to hear other people. It's nice to hear other people have thoughts about these things.
Oh yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah, only our podcast could be the ones that take a 25-minute episode and go about an hour and 30 minutes on it. So yeah, if you really want that, there you go.
Yeah,
I was on that for Eternia over a year ago, and we did that one episode, and Jesus, that was like a 5-hour thing. That was before the episode started, after the episode started, and I was like, you could tell I was bored because I didn't care about the episode. I'm just sitting there. It was terrible.
You needed a possum and a peanut.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's right.
Adam, how about you? Anything coming up?
I just did an article about Top Toys card backs, kind of some of the variants there, and then I'm still planning to do a Blaster Hawk article, but then I just realized I've been meaning forever to do some scans, put up some scans of Ladybird books. MOTU Origins Quark sent me some awesome books that I need to scan, so I'm going to do that first, and then I'll do the Blaster Hawk
Yeah, I wish I could do that for you. I got all the books, the Ladybird books, but I don't scan things.
Yeah. No, that's
I just got a phone. I don't have a scanner. Unless the phone will work, I can do it if you want photos with the phone, but I don't know how quality they would be.
What kind of phone do you have?
iPhone.
Oh, you can scan with using Notes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can actually do a scan with Notes. I discovered that not too long ago. So there you go. Bobby's gonna do it for you, Adam.
I have them all in numbers.
I'm sure you have infinite time, Bobby, to do all of that.
Bobby was like, "I got nothing going on." Well, now you do, buddy.
That's not what I meant.
The scans aren't very good, so don't do that. Yeah.
That's all right.
So, Bobby, nothing. How's
I'm still trying to work through my head. Yeah, to get going.
Okay,
on
good.
I had the stories in my head. I know what I'm going to write. I just physically don't do it for some reason.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Your brain and your body is telling you just chill.
I should have had my goal was to have the episode tomorrow, the one that you were supposed to do, and I still haven't written it.
Well,
but I know
I could just give me a plot line, like a basic plot thing, and I'll just make it up. It won't be very good, but it'll be horrible, in fact.
Well, I have specific things that have to be said in it.
Yeah, you don't, and you also probably don't want long, awkward pauses.
No, well, I can edit that myself.
That's true. Oh, dang.
You should hear some of my stuff when I record. I'm like sneezing or burping or something, so I have to get that out. You know? Especially that time when I got real sick with the COVID, man.
I
was sick during it. I was coughing and all kinds of shit, and you can hear me swearing. I'm like, "Son of a bitch! I can't believe I'm doing this while I'm trying to read." It's all.
But that's what you got to give your patrons.
Well, I am
excerpts. The excerpts.
That's what I have planned is to do.
Yeah,
like all the bad edit stuff. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Just a whole reel just on goofy shit that I say.
Blooper.
When I read the whole thing, and I don't pause I just record it. So
that's great. I mean, listen, I'm a patron of your channel. I would love that. I want a Bobby blooper reel.
Okay, I'll get you guys one.
Here it goes. Folks, if you're interested in Bobby's blooper reel that's coming out in the near future, could be a year, could be 2 years, could be 3 years. We might get it.
Next thing I do.
Maybe it'll be maybe. Then the link to Bobby's Patreon is right down below. You should head on over there and become a member. Also, Adam's Patreon is down there too, and my Patreon is down there too. If you're interested in contributing to our endeavors, Sean still doesn't have a Patreon, but he's probably thinking, I don't want to have to do another thing.
And if you don't want to do a Patreon to me, go to Adam's site because he has the St. Jude link to his.
Yes.
Don't donate to that instead.
Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome.
Much better cause than me.
Than any of us.
Than any of us, absolutely. Yeah. So head over there and donate, people.
And I want to say that real quick that John got me these Emerald Knight photos. He sent me these in the mail.
Nice.
Yeah.
The 2 dreadnoughts. But I don't ask for this stuff. Please don't, send things. I feel goofy with that. But if you want to, I got a whole list of everything I need. That's down
I can't. I gotta. This is a good opportunity to just give the people that watch this show, the people that tune in every week, and that contribute as patrons or through our group chats online. It's just awesome to have you all here. Even if you're just watching and you're enjoying this, thank you so much for being here and participating. And whether you do the YouTube things or not, it's just great to have you here. And honestly, that's what matters most to us. And talking to each other because we like each other. Yep. We like each other's company. I know that Weekly Weirdo is on hiatus right now because I'm building Snake Mountain on the weekends. So I've got a 3-day weekend coming up. So I'm planning to do as much as I can do. And also, so that'll be the next Snake Mountain video will be posted on Monday evening instead of Sunday evening. So, so if you're all interested in that stuff, then by all means, tune in. But thanks so much for being here. And